All right, it's that time of the week for audience questions. You can submit these really however you want. Tweet me at dpakman, email, Facebook, Twitter. Mentioned Twitter already. Instagram, I don't know. In any case, every week I answer three questions. The first one today is, hey, David, who are going to be the first Democratic candidates to drop out of the 2020 race? So the first question is, do you mean prominent or not? And if you do, how do you define prominent versus not prominent? We've already seen some people drop out. So former West Virginia Senator Richard Ojeda, who I interviewed, has already dropped out very, very early, said he wasn't really able to raise money. So I guess I'll answer the question as far as the slightly more well-known candidates, although everybody has a different sense of who kind of counts because there are all sorts of different people running, as we found out this week, including with some of the people that we talked to. So of the people that I would consider relatively prominent and that are at least potentially showing up in polls, although in some polls they're polling zero, which isn't good. I don't think Hickenlooper is going to last. I don't think Kirsten Gillibrand is getting any traction whatsoever. And it's really hard to imagine them making it all the way to the first primaries. Congressman Tim Ryan, I like the guy. I met him, interviewed him at Netroots Nation in New Orleans in August. Has a lot of great ideas, talking about stuff that a lot of other members of Congress don't talk about. Have a hard time seeing how he gets any traction. You're already sort of seeing, or maybe better said, not seeing him anywhere because he's not getting any traction. Julian Castro entered the race early. He's getting very little traction, but he's at least getting 3% in some polls. And that gets me to Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi has a very loud following, but I continue to see her not getting any traction. She's polling 0 or 1 in most polls. She's polling 1% in a new Emerson national poll. And Andrew Yang, who started as a complete unknown without even a seat in the House of Representatives to use as a sort of jumping off point, even Yang is polling 3% in this recent poll compared to Tulsi Gabbard polling 1%. Now, I think that that's one that her followers will disagree with me on. They'll say, David, as soon as the debates start, she's going to rocket up. She has made the debates, so it's just a matter of time for Tulsi Gabbard. And we'll see. I mean, I think there's no question Tulsi is going to last longer than Kirsten Gillibrand, Hickenlooper, and Tim Ryan. But it's not looking good for Tulsi. And this is not, I'm not giving my opinions here about who I like and don't like. Tim Ryan, I really like. Interviewed him, met him, very smart guy, very knowledgeable guy, spoke after the interview with him about economics and many other issues. I'm just going by the polls and by the media stories that we're starting to see. And that is, there's no indication right now that Tulsi has the legs to keep it going. Amy Klobuchar also unlikely to last very long. Jay Inslee seems to be going nowhere. John Delaney is absolutely going nowhere. So from the people currently running, the ones with what I see as sort of staying power, these are not, again, endorsements of who I like, just people who are getting traction in a way that is fomenting or building a campaign that is polling something at this point in time. You've got Bernie. You've got Beto O'Rourke. Again, I'm not a Beto fan, but if you look at the polling and the fundraising, he's doing well at this point in time. Kamala Harris, who is not a super interesting candidate to me. Then slightly in the kind of half tier down would be Elizabeth Warren, and Pete Buttigieg has been getting attention and has been rising in the polls. And then further down, you see Cory Booker, and interestingly, as I mentioned, Andrew Yang, who is polling 3% in this new Emerson poll that came out earlier this week. That is very interesting, given that Gillibrand is polling 0 in that one, John Delaney polling 1 in that Emerson poll, and Tulsi Gabbard polling 1. It is very interesting to see that Andrew Yang now is polling 3%, and that was a poll released before his CNN town hall, which was on Sunday night. So those are my thoughts in terms of who we're going to see go very soon, who we are unlikely to see make it all the way, and then who I see right now as the top contenders. And you know the great thing? I could be totally wrong, because at this point in time, rarely does the leader ultimately end up being the nominee. And everything I said could end up being completely backwards, which I think would be something that will pleasure significantly the Tulsi Gabbard followers, who are either not believing or very upset about her 0 to 1% polling in almost every poll that is out right now. Let me know what you think. Where am I wrong? Where am I right?